So I just closed a $700,000 deal, and it took about 1.5 years. And this is the biggest deal that I've ever closed in my entire life, in my entire sales career. And I've been in sales for about nearly 10 years now. I'm going to share with you the 7 key lessons that I learned in this journey of closing the biggest deal I've ever closed in my life. But the first lesson I want to start with is an obvious one, which is mindset. And by mindset, I mean self-belief. Because when I joined my company, the average deal size was about $100,000. It took them about 9 months to close a deal. And on top of that, I was the youngest, and I still am the youngest person in the team, which is something that I've seen throughout my career because I kind of graduated early. So I've always been the youngest in the team or in any company that I join. And that puts me in a situation where, number one, the status quo is that $150,000 takes 9 months to close. And number two, me being the youngest person on the team, people underestimate my abilities. And so starting off at this point, it's very easy to just think, oh, well, all of these experienced veterans in the field, they've been at the company for a decade now. It takes them nearly a year to close a $150,000 deal. So who am I to come into the picture and say, I'm going to close a deal that is one of the largest deals in the company's history within 1.5 years? It takes a certain level of, I guess, arrogance. I put arrogance in quotation marks because I don't think it's arrogance. It's self-belief. And it's the kind of self-belief that destroys and goes against the status quo. And you absolutely must have that self-belief when you're working on big deals, because there's going to be so much that comes at you throughout the journey. And if you don't have the self-belief that yes, I can close this deal. I can make things happen. I can earn people's trust. I can deliver on my promises. I can align my product with my customers' needs. If you don't have that kind of self-belief, then there's no point in even starting the journey, because the first obstacle that you face is just going to throw you off course. So that's the first lesson. The second lesson is this. You need to have a motivation. And from that motivation is where the self-belief will kick in. Because throughout the journey, you're asking yourself, why am I waking up at 5 a.m. to travel to another country to try and get this deal closed? Why am I spending so much time, taking time out of my weekend, taking time out of my family, my friends? Like, why am I taking so much time to close this deal? And for me, my motivation was very obvious. I wanted to make a lot of money because I had certain private plans and goals that I was really focused on. So if you don't have the motivation, there's no point whatsoever in starting this journey, because the motivation is the fuel that will go into your self-belief that will help you combat all the obstacles along the way. Third lesson. It's going to take much longer than you think. I thought that it would take me 6 months. I came into the company and I said to myself, I'm going to close one of the biggest deals in this company, and I'm going to do it within 6 months, and I'm going to show it to everyone. And it took me 1.5 years. 1.5 years for a nearly $1 million deal is great, but that was 1.5 years, which I was not expecting. And when you're 10 months into a deal that you thought would take you 6 months to close, a part of you starts to doubt yourself, starts to doubt the process, the journey. But it's at that point when you need to realize and remind yourself that it's okay. Sometimes the journey takes longer than you anticipate. What matters is that you are making progress and you have visible markers of progress. And it reminds me of a Tony Robbins quote where he says something along the lines of, humans overestimate what they can do in 5 years and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And so I think a lot of patience when you're working on huge deals like this is absolutely critical, because as part of the process, there will be times when it's just going to be a bit quiet. People are on holidays, people are sick, people are working on other projects, and you have to be patient, because patience being patient is in a way communicating confidence in the process. That's the best way I can say it. Like, by demonstrating your patience in this process, you are at the same time demonstrating confidence, a calm, quiet confidence that this deal will happen. So being patient is just part of the journey. The fourth lesson, it takes more people than you think. Oh, this is a great one. So when I started this journey, one of my sales leaders told me that, look, Alfred, you're in the world of B2B sales. You are selling to the world's largest companies. And as a result of that, the byproduct is that you're never just going to be selling to one person or a team of people. You are literally going to be selling to an entire organization of people. And the company I sold to, which is one of the world's largest entertainment companies, has about 300,000 employees. Now, obviously, it doesn't mean I had to sell to all of the departments across that company or all 300,000 of those people. But what it did mean was that there were a variety of different departments who I needed to win over. Because when you're working on B2B complex sales, the decision maker is rarely ever one person. I mean, yes, it is one or two people that signs off on the piece of paper that is the contract that shows that you've won their business. But behind those one or two signatures, those one or two people are literally hundreds of different individuals and different teams of people who gave those one or two people the confidence to sign. So as an example, you go to a company, you meet the CEO. The CEO is excited about the products. They think that there's potential there. But then they direct you to their VP of technology. Now you need to speak to the VP of the technology. VP of technology is excited by what you have to offer, but the VP of technology trusts their team a lot more than they trust themselves because they're focused on a bunch of different priorities. So then now you have to demo your product to a team of 5 to 6 people that sit under the VP of technology. And within that team of 5 to 6 people, maybe 2 or 3 people in that team are also close with the people in the marketing team, for example, and they see there's potential here for the marketing team to use your technology. Next thing you know, you're speaking with the VP of marketing, and next thing you know, you're speaking with the CMO of marketing, and now you're speaking with the chief engineering officer because obviously someone has to implement the solution. So now you're speaking with a team of 6 to 7 engineering managers. So it's like one of those Russian dolls where there's just always a layer. There's always a layer because different people know different departments. It just takes so much more people than you think when you're working in complex B2B sales, especially multi-6, multi-7-figure deals like this. So my best advice is if you're ever at a point where you think that you've talked to enough people, you need to speak with more people. You need to meet more people. You need to meet as many people as possible. No title is too junior. No title is too senior. You need to speak with as many people as humanly possible because the more contacts you know, the more friends you make within that company, the better and easier it is for you to close those big dollar deals. And my fourth key lesson, attach yourself to the highest ranking, titled person that you know. What do I mean by this? It is unheard of usually to close a near $1 million deal, $700,000 deal in my company within 1.5 years. Why was it so fast? Well, I started off selling to the CEO. Most people start off selling to the operation manager, to the junior associate. Some people are good enough to sell to the head of technology or head of whatever. The problem with that is that if you're starting from the bottom, you need to convince everyone else at the top. If you start at the top, there's no one at the bottom you have to convince. If the CEO of the company believes that your product, your service can solve their problem and can help their company save money, generate more revenue, improve operational efficiency, who's going to get in the way? Who's going to go against the CEO? If a junior manager believes that your product, your service, your solution can help them save money, increase revenue, improve operational efficiency, their boss, the manager, the director, the head of, the CEO, can easily come in and say, what are you wasting your time on? Go do this initiative that I told you to do. It's so much easier. Here's an analogy. Imagine you're house shopping and you have children, and your children see this beautiful, amazing house and they really want to buy it. And the salesperson focuses on selling your children on the house. And now your children are coming home to you and saying, Mommy, Daddy, can we please buy this big house? The salesperson told me that buying this big house is a great investment because 5 to 10 years, we're going to double our money. I mean, as a parent, I'd be pretty impressed that my kids are thinking this way. But ultimately, they're my kids. I mean, I might look at the house because my kids are so excited by it, but I have my own initiatives. I have my own criteria. I have my own things that I care about when it comes to buying a house. But if that salesperson instead focused on me, the parent, even if the kids didn't like the house, I'm the parent. I'm the one with the money. I'm the one that knows what it takes to make a good decision on buying a house. And that, my friends, is why when you're selling to big B2B companies, large companies, or anything of that sort, always start with the power. Start at the highest possible ranking that you can start with and stick with them. Make sure that when you're speaking with other members, other teams, other departments, make sure to always reference that, hey, the CEO cares about A, B, and C, which is why I'm speaking with you. Always do that. So that's such an important lesson. The fifth lesson that I learned, face-to-face interactions are so important, especially nowadays where everyone just talks through video calls, conferences, SMS, Messenger, LinkedIn. It is so important to meet people face to face. I've never thought, before working on this deal, I used to feel like it saved me so much time just to get on a quick Zoom or Google Hangout video call and just have a conversation and close a deal. But back then, I was only closing deals that were about $100,000, $80,000. But as the deal sizes started to increase, I realized that at the end of the day, no one is going to give you $1 million or $700,000 after having a few video calls with them. People need to meet you. People need to shake your hands. People need to see who you are. They need to feel your energy. They need to see if you're trustworthy. And that is why it's so important to spend as much money as you can to travel out to your prospects or your customers' offices to go on site with them, sit with them, have breakfast, lunch with them, take them out for dinner. Meet the people that you're selling to, shake their hands, know what it's like to be in their presence. There's so much information that you will get from speaking with them that they cannot and they will not share with you over a video call. Another thing that meeting people in person does is that it shows your commitment to that customer. It shows that you care about the customer, that you are willing to fly from one side of the country to another or to an entirely different continent. That shows your commitment. And if the CEO or the C-level that you're selling to sees that you're willing to travel all the way just to meet them for 20, 30-minute lunch, they're going to be just as committed as you. Because when people see that level of energy, that level of commitment, they also want to invest. It signals that what you are doing is so important that you're willing to take time out of your life. And if you're willing to take time out of your life to travel to meet them, they're going to meet you at the same way. So it's so important to have that face-to-face interaction or connection when you're meeting your customers to really close these big 7-figure, 6-figure deals. Lesson number 6, run the numbers. This is super important when you're selling. Like, people always ask, well, Alfred, how do you get an audience with the C-level? How do I even get the attention of the CEO? Well, you need to speak the language of the CEO. CEOs don't care about small little details, and they are looking at the big picture vision. And when I say big picture vision, people immediately think, okay, increasing revenue. Bro, everyone is talking about increasing revenue. You need to go 1, 2, 3 steps further. Why does the CEO want to increase revenue? Oh, because they want to sell the company to private equity 5 years from now. Oh, okay. Why do they want to sell the company to private equity 5 years from now? Oh, because they want to retire so they can spend more time with their family. Ah, okay. So let's reverse engineer all of the key decisions that they need to make from that goal in order for all of that to happen. And the point here is this. In thinking this way, you're stepping into the CEO's shoes. And by stepping into the CEO's shoes, you inevitably reach the conclusion that numbers are the name of the game. And what you're going to need to do is, beyond saying increasing revenue, you're going to have to say, by investing X amount into my solution, within 6 months, you're expected to achieve an ROI of 5x, which will have an impact of 5% on your net revenue, which will increase your profit by X%. Here are all the tiny little actions that you need to take in order to realize this profit. And in doing so, this can help contribute to your 5-year exit plan to sell to the private equity so you can get closer to your retirement. You need to run the numbers. This is where so many salespeople fail and fall. This is where I lose so much competition, by the way, because my competition, they're just not willing. It takes too much energy, too much effort, too much thinking to run the numbers in a way that truly makes sense. Because so many people are just focused on themselves. They just want to sell without wearing the customer's shoes and really sitting down and thinking about how their solution can genuinely help their customer. So it's such an underrated thing. Run the numbers. Lesson number 7, the final lesson. I don't know if this is number 7 or 8, by the way. I think I lost track, but have mentors. I could not have done this journey without mentorship. There's no way, sorry, I had to check my phone there for a sec, but there's no way I could have closed this deal without listening to the advice of trusted mentors. Yes, I am the youngest person to close such a large deal in my company's history. Yes, because I'm younger, I feel like I have a lot more ambition, a lot more energy, a lot more freedom than my competition, than my peers. But at the end of the day, without the experience of the mentors that I listened to, there's no way I could have closed this deal, because they've seen this process 1,000 times. And so I just listened to them whenever they spoke. I shared with them some of the challenges, the problems that I had. They gave me a perspective. And not all of their advice I followed. You know, sometimes advice is just meant to be heard and not executed on or followed. But then there's advice that really applies to your situation. And that's the kind of advice that you need to follow. And you'll know when the advice applies to you. So yeah, without my mentors, there's no way I would have been able to make as much progress that I did in closing this deal. So shout out to my mentor. I think he's making a YouTube channel soon, Steve. If he lets me, I'll put the link in the description below. But yeah, so mentorship is huge, and arguably one of the most important lessons that I took. But I kind of knew this already. You know, I mean, I feel like this is common knowledge. You know, having mentorship really just saves you so much time and pain throughout the journey. So yeah, those are my 7 or 8 lessons that I took away from closing this deal. Hopefully this video was useful to you. If you have any questions, leave a comment in the comment section below, and I might make more videos. It depends on the feedback I get from this video. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time.